Alright, it's your boy iDef, and I am back with another review for you guys, and this time we got the SHFiguarts Harley Quinn from Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. It's a mouthful. Yeah, I've had this figure for a couple months. Not that it matters, I have so many unopened figures at this point, but I'm assuming this is kind of an older figure because this movie came out around like 2021 or something like that, but it's a tiny little box. You got the shots on the back like SHFiguarts usually does. Not much English on this one. I think this is a Japanese version, I'm not sure. Because I think there is like ones that are generally geared more towards like English, you know, consumers. I'm not 100% sure though. Maybe not, because it also doesn't straight up say Japanese. I don't know, bro. Whatever. It does not matter. But it's a cute little box. Not gonna lie. I do like to keep these just because it's convenient for the parts, because there's set places for the parts. I don't know. But yeah, before we even get into it though, like, you can kind of see some gap in her neck right there. I'm hoping that necklace hides that, but I'm also kind of betting her torso articulation isn't going to be great, but she does still look pretty cool. Let's go ahead and run it through the old iDef system. Is the figure in good shape? Does the figure function as intended? Everything that's included with the figure, plus scaling, and then just my final thoughts. Usually a little pose at the end when I'm talking about it too, unless I forget. Alright, and here she is out of package, and is the figure in good shape? From what I can see, I think, you know, she doesn't really have any paint issues or anything like that. However, it's kind of a gap thing going on here, and I don't think she has drop down, so I don't think you can really do much about it. That kind of sucks. I don't want to break the figure, but it's really not that big of a deal, especially if she's like at a pose or whatever, but decent shape. Also, I don't know what her original retail price was, but she was not super expensive either, so I'm really not going to rag on that like I would with the average SHFiguarts, but like, you know, if this was a little bit more expensive, I would be a little more mad about that. But this figure has some other issues that are built into it that are not even QC issues, so we'll just get into that. But she's in decent shape. Does the figure function as intended? We'll start with her little pigtails. Those are articulated and you can move them. I would recommend probably being pretty careful with those, especially the first time you move them. There's also a huge, just a terrible design choice, which we'll get into when we get into the accessories that involve the pigtails, but she can look down a decent amount. Funnily enough, she can't really look up, and it's not even because of her hair, she just can't really look up. I don't know why, but you can get some expression out of her head, have her like tilt it, whatever, do whatever, you know. You get like a T-pose. She doesn't really have a butterfly joint. I don't know. Can she even? I don't know. She doesn't really have a butterfly, and this doesn't really extend out, so she can't really reach over you, which kind of sucks because she has a hammer, but she doesn't have a bicep. I want to say, I'm kind of afraid to push this. I don't know if it's really supposed to move. It's on this side. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not gonna push it, but she has a decent bend. But for how skinny her arms are, and all things considered, it's really not great either. Check out the tattoo though. But now this is more specific to these hands, but trying to manipulate these hands to put them in position is extremely odd due to the position that they sit on the peg. But she has a little ball wrist, and you know, they go whichever way. They also feel kind of frail. If you get this figure, be careful. Here's the thing. this is all hard plastic. This is fused. And I think I did watch a review on this. I must have known this and just forgot about it. She only bends at the waist, though. And this is pretty hard plastic, so... I don't want to mess her up, but that's about all you're getting out of her. And get a little side to side. They could have done like the pull-up thing like they do with the ab crunch just to get a little bit more, but the thing that really grinds my gears about it is that she does technically have the torso articulation there. So if they were going to do this, they could have at least made that a clean mold, but whatever, man. She does not have drop down, but she has a decent kick, but she's an acrobatic character. Honestly, she needs a much better one. Again, I don't think she has drop down, so yippee. She can do splits just about. Yeah, so getting a deep dive. Yeah, she just definitely does not have drop down. So, oh well. That's funky. Hold on. I guess you can go a little bit higher, but I don't know if that's doing some damage to the joint in there or what. So I'm not going to keep doing that, but decent little kick. That wasn't even on purpose. She gets almost no ankle articulation though, if I have to be real with you. And the really messed up part is I think she actually gets more on one leg than the other. Or no, it's about the same, but I hate when they do this thing where they make the pant legs not exactly symmetrical. But yeah, obviously she has toe articulation, and then she has a little bit of pivot. It's not going to do much though. But per design choices, I guess she functions as intended. This is actually probably the worst articulated. You know what? That's not true. That's not true. The raid on Onigashima, Zoro, that figure, yeah, he was pretty bad. She's alright though. If I have to be real with you guys, this is actually very comparable to like a McFarlane. And I hate to say that, but it really, really is. Except she does look better. I mean, let's be real. But for everything that's included with her, she has this other head. She kind of, let me see if I can, there we go. Kind of a happy head, excited. And you're rolling around. And then kind of a serious, more like her head's just going to be tilted down for this head sculpt, but definitely the serious head sculpt. My camera keeps not auto zooming on what it should. My bad. But you notice how they don't have the pigtails. And also you notice how there's almost a seam, like this should technically work like the average SHFiguarts. If you don't click the SHFiguarts and you don't watch my videos and haven't seen some of my reviews of them, which I actually haven't done that many comparatively to my other reviews, but anyways, they have like a faceplate system, and some other brands do this. I think when SHFiguarts does live action characters, they tend to do head sculpts instead of the faceplate swaps. You have to take these the pigtails out and put them in the other head sculpt every time. And they do not feel very strong, if I'm being honest with you. But to continue, damn, my camera's kind of being a piece of crap right now. But she's got her little hammer. It's got a little smiley face on it. This does feel very fragile, but it is cool. And then she comes with some roller skates. They're shiny. They got the alternating wheels. They do not roll, and they do not try to trick you and tell you they do. They even tell you in the instruction manual that they do not roll. I don't know why they would need to for a figure like this anyways, so that's fine with me. I'm not mad at it. I do think it's funny that they decided to make this one of, like, both hands. Got this, you know, the sucker hand. Also note the rings. They're not, like, hyper accurate close up, but they are consistent on both, like, sides. If you understand what I'm saying. I'll show you as we go through more. Let me see if I can get these to focus so you can actually see. Nope, not at all. Cool. My deepest apologies, friends. There we go. But if you'll notice, the rings are accurate. Which, you know, from Tamashii, it's not a big deal, but I do appreciate it. I do think that's cool. It is noticed by me. Like, McFarlane does decent detail with certain stuff. And I feel like I've had some where, like, you would have a fisted hand and it was just reused from another figure and didn't match the rest of the stuff or whatever. Like, this is cool. I appreciate that. But yeah, that's everything she comes with. It's also, you know, feels like, well, maybe a little less than some SHFiguarts, but it's not too bad. For what I got this figure, again, I'm actually not gonna be like, oh, it's not enough, I'm pissed. But let's go ahead. I don't have much to scale her with really, but I do got something, and it is pretty cool. Now, you guys have seen this figure on my channel before because I literally reviewed it. I think it's really cool though because they scale. Like, that's a live action version of the character. This is a comic version of a character, and like they still relatively scale pretty well. So that's really all I need. I'm gonna say she scales pretty fucking well. But yeah, you know, I think eventually, maybe when I open my Mofex Robert Pattinson or something, I'll scale them together so I can, you know, kind of get an idea. But I don't really know if that'll work well either. But we'll see. So for my final thoughts on this figure, I think if she was like $35, there wouldn't be much to complain about. I think I got her for like 40 something, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I think that's a little bit too much. Now, if you're like a mega fan of like Margot Robbie or Harley Quinn, probably really not too much. But that being said, this was very easy to get her to pose in, and cool enough. If I feel like this is a draw for the figures, the skates. She actually has more articulation with these, if that's important. She doesn't have toe articulation, obviously, but for skates, you wouldn't anyways. And I'm sure you can even use these little stoppers too. She actually gets more ankle articulation. And because she's so light, she's actually really easy to balance. So you can, you know, get her, she can come with a stand. That would have been really cool. But, yeah, honestly, I thought I was going to be kind of disappointed with this figure when I first opened her. She's kind of growing on me though. But yeah, overall, I don't regret getting her. I'm not going to like 100% recommend you go get her. Like, you know what I mean? If you like the movie and you don't, you know, you got the scratch for it, why not? If you didn't even like the movie, like, don't get this figure. Like, there's not really much point, but you know, you get what I'm getting at. This is one of those ones where it's like, you've watched the review. You can decide for yourself at this point. But I think that's it. I'm sorry for the rambling.